Hey everyone, this is Anne Marie. Ball Girl Will Travel. I'm trying to deal with these lights. I'm gonna try to make some adjustments to the lights, so give me 1 second. That should be a little better because I have these glasses on. So I'm gonna take the glasses off. Hopefully, shouldn't need them really for this live. So hi, this is Anne Marie. Ball Girl Will Travel, and I like to talk about solo travel for Black women over 40, especially for us women over 50 and beyond. I'm here to encourage us to stop waiting for other people and get on the plane and go on the trip ASAP. Life is short, I always say, book the trip. So I provide content, travel, lifestyle content related to encouraging us to travel and to see the world and to do so joyfully and safely. So today I'm going to talk about solo travel and money. And I did a live a while back about credit, how I budget, a little bit about how I use credit cards and things like that. So I'm not really talking about credit cards per se, but I'm talking a little bit about how I make plans related to dealing with money issues when I'm traveling. I've talked before about how I budget for travel and that I do need to put my glasses on because I can't see who's joining without it. Hey there, on my way out of here. I love that name. Phyllis, Renaissance and Consciousness. Hi there. My glasses are having a little bit of a glare with the lights, but I need them because when you're over 50, you got to wear them glasses because you need to be able to see. Anyway, so I'm going to talk a little bit about money and how I not only budget for trips, but also how I deal with issues around, currency, changing money, how I decide, how much money I need when I'm on the ground, and things like that. So the first thing I'll talk a little bit about is, how I budget for trips. And I don't have hard and fast rules about budgeting. It's not like I have a little jar where I put travel money or I save change or any of those things. But what I tend to do, as I've said before, is that I follow the deal rather than the destination. So there are trips where I plan in advance that I want to go somewhere in a year or something like that. And I will look and book when the deals come in. But usually I also plan trips based on I see a good deal. And so I booked the trip. For example, I'm getting ready to go to Greece. And the reason I ended up going to Greece this year is that I saw a good deal. And since I'd never been there before and it was a place that I wanted to go, I saw a good deal. I booked it. Another thing that I do is I tend to travel in shoulder season. And I've mentioned this before. And shoulder season is off season, off peak season. So different places have peak season at different times. In Europe, peak season is the summer months. In places like Africa, peak season tends to be dry season, often non-rainy season. And then in certain countries in Africa, during things like the Great Migration and so on, that might be treated as peak season. In places like the Caribbean, the fall months going into Christmas and into the New Year and February, like the winter months when it's cold everywhere else, tends to be high season in Caribbean islands and also in the southern part of Mexico, the Caribbean seaside part of Mexico. So it's important to do your homework. Don't just assume that high season is summer everywhere because it's not. For example, in Australia, summer is in winter in our part of the world. So if you want to go to Australia and you pick the winter months to go, you're actually going in high season because that's when it's warm. So you probably would want to try to go to Australia in the fall months, right when they're coming out of winter and going into spring, rather than going in December, January, February, when it's summertime there. So do your homework and kind of know when the seasons are in the place that you're thinking about traveling. And then I highly, highly recommend, using tools like Going. I'm very big on Going. It used to be called Scott's Cheap Flights. I'm very big on it. I have a premium membership. It's not super expensive. I think it costs me like $50 or something like that. Um, and they send me flight deals. So they just sent me something about Scotland, which I'm still turning over in my mind. But their sales, they send me tickets. They'll say this place is on sale, that place. And what I get to do is I put in the airports that I'm interested in flying out of. And anytime there's a sale coming out of any of those airports, I get an email. Basically, what they do is they aggregate a lot of the information from Google Flights, which is another thing that I highly recommend. Hi, Bonnie, that you use. Google Flights will also send you travel alerts for flights. If you sit and like create travel alerts for different times or dates or airports, they will also do it. But I like Going better because it's just more organized. But definitely use a flight aggregator like Google. And honestly, a lot of these services all use Google Flights. And then they just repackage the information and sell it to you. But I like Going best. And I used to use Kayak. I don't use Kayak as much because I use Going, and I just go straight to the source, which is Google Flights, to like figure out places that I want to go. But basically, just putting in the dates and times that you think you're interested in travel. What I like about Going is, like I said, because I rather follow the deal, they like just tell me when their deals out of the airports. I have like 4 airports that I monitor flights from, and they just send me deals. And so I'm always like, oh, that looks like an interesting place, and I'll book a flight, right? The other thing is always subscribe to airlines. So if you fly with certain airlines all the time, create an account with them, collect your miles, and they will also send you sale information when they have sales. So for example, I was able to take advantage of a sale that British Airways had to go to London last month for my birthday. And it was not something I had originally planned to go through London, but because I saw a good deal, because British Airways was having a sale out of one of the airports that I like to fly out of, I ended up doing that and getting a good rate. Because what I often do is I will try to get the cheapest ticket I can possibly find, and then I will upgrade to economy premium or sometimes even business class. So I like to buy my tickets on sale. I do not like to pay full price for plane tickets, and that's usually your most expensive thing. So that's something that I do. So I highly recommend signing up for mileage with all the airlines, honestly, but definitely if you know you fly Southwest all the time, or you know you fly Delta all the time, or things like that, sign up with them and collect your mileage. And you will also find out that many of them have things like mileage shopping. For example, United has, I'm a United preferred customer, and United has a mileage shop where you can buy things that you would buy every day through their portal and get miles for it. So Sephora, Banana Republic outlet. I'm just throwing out places I like to shop. Nordstrom. Well, right now Nordstrom isn't giving points, but Bloomingdale's, Macy's, and sometimes they double the points. Like the other day, they were doing 6 points per dollar, 6 miles per dollar spent at was it Bloomingdale's? So those are good things to do. Capital One also has a similar like shopping portal where you shop there and you get points. Delta has deals where you get, if you book your Airbnb through their portal, you get miles for every stay on Airbnb. Same with Starbucks. All of us are giving Starbucks a lot of money. So why not buy your Starbucks through the Delta portal and get some miles for your morning coffee? So just little things like that will allow you to accumulate miles and points, which are a great way to also offset the cost of your travel. For example, I recently decided that I'm going to stay overnight in Mexico City on the way to Greece because I want to take a commuter bus to get up there rather than an individual shuttle. So I'm going to do that. And the reason I can do it is, and it's not going to cost me a lot, is because I have points and I'm using my points for an overnight stay at a Hilton hotel in Mexico City. So accumulating points is a really great way. And all of us have bills and credit cards, and so on. I say if you're going to have a credit card that pays you, and accumulate your miles, and also create those accounts with the airlines. So even if you're not, like using an airline credit card, you can still accumulate points in other ways without even using a credit card. Simple things like shopping through those portals. You'd be surprised how many miles you can rack up just doing that. If I don't buy anything now without going into the portal first to see if they have a deal. So for the example, the other day, I wanted to do some shopping, just pick up a couple things, just to refresh the wardrobe a little bit. And I saw some things on Anthropologie was having a sale. I love Anthropologie. And so I went into the Capital One portal and I bought my Anthropologie things through their portal so that I could get miles from them for the purchase. So just things like that are great ways to plan and budget. Phyllis said, this chat is right on time. I'm trying to stay focused on my residency scouting trips to Ecuador and Panama. But since I joined Coding and getting so many deals, yeah, they have really great deals. Like last year, I got a deal for a round trip ticket to Trinidad and Tobago for $250 on American Airlines out of Houston Airport, nonstop. They will find you some deals. As long as you put in those airports, they will find you some deals. So I'm always like putting stuff in there and refreshing it and making sure that I have all my destinations in there, so that they can send me deals. And you can put in as many airports as you have proximity to. So I have them sending me information about multiple airports. There's another one that I look at, but I can't remember the name of it, that gives you international airports as well, but I don't use it as often. I tend to use Google Flights to monitor international like airports, and then I use Going for American airports, because Going does not monitor flights. But I feel like there is a similar website that includes international flights that I read about, and I know that I joined it, but I don't think I've used it as much. Now let's talk a little bit about when you are like currency exchange and things like that. So when you're planning for a trip, one of the things I highly recommend is that you have a currency converter on your phone and that you use it, so that you have a good understanding of what the exchange rates are for wherever it is that you're going, whether it is that you're place that has an exchange rate that's beneficial to you, or you're going to a place that does not have a very beneficial exchange rate, like, for example, the United Kingdom and or Europe, right? So I keep an app called XE on my phone. I really like it. I used to use another one, but I found this one and I like it better. And it allows me to like track multiple currencies. Like you can look, I don't know if you can see that, but it allows me to, no, you can't really see it, but it allows me, that's a little bit better. It allows me to track multiple currencies on it, which is pretty great. And so I have probably like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 currencies sitting here right now. One of them I can turn off because I definitely don't need it right now anymore. But it allows me to monitor multiple currencies all the time if I want to do that. I usually always have like Mexico, the US, the Trinidad and Tobago, and some others. Right now I'm tracking Tanzania, and I'm tracking, I'm always tracking the euro. So, because one thing that I do secret flying, that's the other one. I do get alerts from secret flying, but I'm not as good about always opening them. But that's another good one, secret flying. And they also send you international hubs, I believe. That's the one I'm trying to remember. Now, one of the things that I do using this currency app is I monitor the euro all the time. Why do I do that? Because if there's a significant dip in the euro, like happened, I think like 2 years ago, where it was almost equal to the dollar, that wasn't last year, it was 2021, I want to say, I think, or early 2022, I'll go buy some euros, right? I'll just buy them and hold them. One currency I never change back is euros, because euros tend to only go up in value, hardly ever go down. But if they do go down, then you buy it when it's low if you can, and hold on to it if you're a traveler, right? So that's something I will do if I have the ability to go buy some when it is low. I'll go buy some, because I always know at some point I'm going to go back to Europe, and it's better to buy the currency when there's a fluctuation than when it's higher. So that's something to also think about in terms of monitoring currency. For example, at one point, the Mexican peso was close to like 22 or $23, 23 pesos to $1. And I had went and bought like a certain amount of pesos because the exchange rate was so good. And it helped later, because right now, the peso is dropping a little bit now, but it had gotten almost down to $15 to $1 earlier this year. It was sitting at 16 for a while. Now it's not at 17 something, and it looks like they're forecasting it's probably going to get to 18 or 19 by the end of the year, but we'll see. So if you travel a lot, and this is only if you travel a lot, then paying attention to the exchange rate of certain currencies can actually be beneficial to you, right? Otherwise, what we want to do is to kind of monitor it if you're traveling somewhere. I recommend, as much as possible, if you're going to buy the currency, and I don't always necessarily recommend that you buy the currency before you get there, but if you're going to buy the currency before you get there, buy it from your bank. You'll almost always get the best rate if you just buy direct from your bank. Now, American banks, Canadian dollars, Mexican pesos, Japanese yen, this is off the top of my head, so I don't remember all of them. It's hard to get African currencies. Let's get to the point that I'm trying to make. It's hard to get African currencies. So if you go buy them from a place like Forex, they're going to overcharge you for it. So if the currency for the country you're going to is not available, then buy the currency when you get the currency when you get to the country, but try to either withdraw it from a bank ATM at the airport, from a bank ATM in the country. Avoid doing it in the airport from one of those currency exchange places, because they almost always are going to overcharge you for the exchange. And if you feel like you have to get some money, just maybe exchange $20 USD or something like that. But don't like pull a whole bunch of money out at the airport. And I know there's an urge that we often have when we land, well, I got to go get some currency, because I had to get over that myself, and I had to unlearn doing that. But wait until you can get to an actual bank. Obviously, I recommend going to the bank, midday or mid-morning when there are lots of people around, not early at 7 o'clock in the morning, and definitely not at night. I don't care what country you're in. I just don't recommend going to ATMs at night to take money out. But do it at a bank ATM. You probably get a better rate. Always remember, when you're taking money out of ATMs, when they offer you to do the conversion for you, decline it, and let your bank set whatever the conversion rate is. Get a better deal almost always. Don't let them, like, if they're saying we've determined that the conversion is this, do you want to accept it? Always say no, right? Don't ever accept it. Don't say yes, because you're going to get gouged if you do that. The other thing I would recommend is, if you are a person that travels more than 5 times a year, which is, most people don't travel as much as I do, I highly recommend getting an account with Schwab. You have to open like an investment checking account with them, and then they will allow you to pull money out anywhere in the world, and they reimburse all your ATM fees. And they don't charge you foreign transaction fees for taking your money out. So if you are a person who travels, I would say more than 4 or 5 times a year, it probably will be of a benefit for you to open an account with Charles Schwab. That's my little tip. What else did I want to talk about? If you are traveling, another money thing to consider, because I just did this. If you are traveling to Europe specifically, and you like to shop like I do, make sure you get your tax your tax refund before you leave Europe. And Europe is the only place where you can get a tax refund. Mexico has it. Um, I mean, I think the UK has it. There are other countries that have it, but not all countries. But you can always ask when you're shopping whether there's a tax refund. Now, one of the things you keep in mind is if you want to take advantage of a tax refund, you have to have your passport with you. So I usually will pick a day in my trip that I'm going to do some shopping. And if depending on what kind of shopping I intend to do, I will bring my passport. As a general matter, I do not recommend having your passport in your purse everywhere you go on trips. If you followed me for any amount of time, you know that I believe you should keep a hard copy of your passport on your person at all times with your driver's license or something like that, and put your actual passport in the safe in the hotel, or lock it in your suitcase or somewhere else secure, but don't have it in your bag. Because if your bag gets stolen or something like that, you're in the consulate, it's going to be hell. It's going to be a problem getting a new passport. It's much easier to replace your driver's license. So that's a little piece of advice, security related advice. But if you're going to do like luxury shopping specifically, and all countries, if they do tax rebates, they require that you spend usually about $150 or more in order to get it. So if you're going to be doing shopping of that kind of range, hi Jennifer, then have your passport with you that day, because they will require your passport in order to process your refund certificate. I'm actually going to do a video about tax refunds because I did shoot some video this time about step by step how, what to do and how it works. So I will do that. I just haven't had time to. I have so much content on my iPhone. It's not funny. So I haven't gotten to that yet, but I will be putting that up. It's a pretty easy step. I mean, it varies a little bit depending on which country in the EU you're traveling from. The basic rule of thumb is you have to apply for your tax refund when you are leaving the European Union. So if you're going to multiple countries and you're shopping in multiple countries, when you're the last country where you're exiting the European Union is when you would do your tax refund. Another thing to remember is that if you are in several places, I know when I've done it in Frankfurt, Germany, they will ask you if you're checking it or whether it's in your carry-on. I don't check bags. If it's in if you're putting it in a checked bag, the stuff you want in a checked bag, then you have to go to a tax desk before you go through security. If you are taking your stuff in your carry-on bag, which even if you are checking a bag, I would recommend that you have that stuff in your carry-on. I mean, personally, to me, you spend $2,000 for a handbag, the handbag should be with you, but that's just me. But if you're taking it into your carry-on, then you have to go through security first, and then there's an office that you go to, because you have to show them the item that you bought in most places, not everywhere, and I'll explain in a minute. But in Germany, in Frankfurt, you had to actually take the item out, show it to the person. They looked at the receipts and the form that was filled out. They stamp it, and then you put it in an envelope and you put it in a mailbox thing, and then they refund your tax to your credit card or send you a check, right? And I always opt to get it put back on my credit card. Now, this time I did it in Florence, Italy, in the airport. I had to go to the customs. You have to go to customs desk first. The guy just looked at my paperwork. I had some things I bought in Paris, and then I had some stuff I bought in Florence. The guy just looked at my paperwork. He did not ask to see the items. And then when I went to, then he told me to go over to another desk, and it was like a company like Forex that does exchange, which I have not experienced before. So it wasn't the global exchange company that actually processes your payment. It was a third party company that was doing it, that was managing the process in that airport. And so she then told me that I would get part of my refund in to my credit card, and then the other part, she paid it to me in cash in US dollars, right? And I've never had it done that way before. I've done this now in France, and I've done it in Frankfurt, and I've done it in Florence. I think I've done it in Rome. This is the first time they did it that way. Because I know each form that was filled out, I was told that the money would go back to my credit card. And for some reason, they gave me a significant amount of money in US cash. And I had to, I always carry a money belt with me everywhere I go. So I don't like to put even cash even in my purse because people be stealing. Your purse has to go through that security belt, and you don't have your eyeballs on it all the time. And I don't like to have my cash in there. So I usually have it on my person and I go through the security thing with it. And if they want to check and see, you can see it, but I don't take it off. So you want to know what security belt I use is on my Amazon. You can look at my Amazon storefront and it's up there. But I highly recommend, if you're carrying cash, put it in a money belt. I don't recommend carrying a lot of cash, but they gave me this cash. So I was glad that I had a money belt with me to use because they gave me a lot of my refund in cash. And I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting them to just send it to my credit card and they did not. So that's just something for you to keep in mind, that every country has a different tax refund process. The other thing is I highly recommend that if you have items that you have to get a tax refund for, add an hour onto your arrival time to the airport. So if ordinarily you would get to the airport 2 hours before departure, even though the rule of thumb I think is 3, I would suggest that you get to the airport 3.5 hours or even 4 hours, because depending on what airport, like for Paris, I would say get there a whole hour before, because Paris is a very busy airport. Florence, I got there close to an hour before, and it took about 35 minutes to get it done. So it depends on the airport. It depends on the day of the week, all of that stuff. But if you're going through a major airport like Frankfurt or Florence, the line can be long with other people who are trying to do the same thing you're doing. So get to the airport early so you don't miss your flight. Or basically you don't miss your flight, because, for example, the Paris airport is humongous and just getting to your gate can be a lot. Same thing with Heathrow. So you don't want to be stuck on, getting a refund and then you got to go through security. If you're checking it in your bag, then you got to go find your gate. Sometimes you got to get on a train. Like in Heathrow, I had to get on a little shuttle, like tram thing, just to get to my gate. It was a whole adventure just finding my gate. So factor all of that in mind if you're doing a tax refund. What else did I want to talk about money? Generally speaking, I would recommend that if you are going to do shopping, no matter what kind of shopping you're going to do, in most countries outside of the US, Europe, Britain, this might even apply in Eastern Europe, people prefer cash, right? So if you're going to be like going to the local markets and stuff like that, that's where it will help you to have cash so that you can barter with people. Because in a lot of those places, like if you're going to Africa, that is the land of bartering. I love it, actually. I used to hate bartering, but I love bartering in the continent because I'm with my people and it's always kind of fun. Because they expect you to bargain, they expect you to do it. But in that case, I would say have some local currency, but just get it, go to the bank ATM and get it. But don't like get more money than you actually need. But because for security purposes, it's just not a good idea to have a lot of money, to have people see you with a lot of money. Sometimes people are even watching people at ATMs, believe it or not. So just be careful about getting a lot of money, but do that. If you're going to the market, then have some local currency so that you can, bargain with people at the market. What else? One thing I've actually found is sometimes, and this is not directly related to currency, but I found that I've gotten better deals sometimes buying SIM cards in the airport rather than on the street. And then sometimes it depends on where. So in Europe, you pay more for a SIM card if you get it at the airport. But I found that the deal I got, was it in Senegal or Kenya, at the airport was better than when I went to the place downtown to get another SIM card, because I had run out of the data and I had lost the thing that they gave me and I couldn't figure out how to add the minutes on. So I went back to the place. So that's another thing to do a little bit of homework about is, don't assume that you're going to get a better deal if you buy it in town, but often you will get a better deal on a SIM card outside of the airport, especially in Europe. Like for sure, when I went to Portugal, I definitely got ganked at the airport. But the only thing is, I didn't buy a lot of data. I just bought enough to get me out of the airport because I didn't want to use my service because I was going to be there for a while. And that $10 day sounds like a good deal, but it's really not, because that stuff adds up really quick if you're somewhere for a long time. Just multiply 10 by 20 days or 30 days, and that's a lot of money. So if I'm going to be somewhere more than 5 days, I buy a SIM card. But usually you're better off if you buy the SIM card outside the airport. You're usually better off buying everything outside the airport. They gank you at the airport in almost every country. Anything else I want to cover about money? I don't think so. Do you guys have any questions about money and traveling that you want to ask me? The floor is open. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to mention, because people have asked me to talk about this, and they wanted me to talk about the currency thing. They wanted me to talk about a little bit more about budgeting. Jennifer says she always gets foreign currency from her bank. I think you joined after I mentioned that. I think it's a good idea to do that. But what I had said is not every country's currency is available from your bank. Like, for example, one of my banks pointedly told me that they don't accept currency or sell currency for Trinidad and Tobago. So I couldn't buy the currency until I got to the country. And I had been able to buy it at a different bank that I had banked with before, but this particular bank told me that they don't sell it and they don't buy it. So everywhere I mentioned that most banks will sell you euros, they'll sell you pounds, they'll sell you Japanese yen, they'll sell you Mexican pesos, they'll sell you some Asian currencies, not besides Japanese, but not a lot, because I don't even think you can get Thai baht in major banks in the US. But it's difficult to get African currency, for example, because I've tried. So you have to get those when you get to the country. So you can call your bank and ask them, and they'll tell you over the phone which currencies they buy and sell. And if they buy and sell it, you can get it from them. Sometimes, like I know for a fact, when I was in DC, I could just walk into the bank and buy Mexican pesos right over the counter, while there was some other currency and euros. No, not Mexican pesos. The Mexican pesos, they mailed to me. They FedExed to me. I ordered it online and they FedExed to me. But I could buy euros and pounds over the counter in the bank. So I could just go in and buy it. And I believe you could also buy Canadian dollars. But I'm not sure you could get the Colombian peso easily. But you could ask and see if they would sell it to you. And if your bank will sell it, you probably get the best rate that you're going to get outside of buying it from getting it from a ATM, a bank ATM in country. I suggest using bank ATMs over using money exchanges in the bank or on the street. If you can go to a bank ATM and buy the currency, you usually will get the better conversion rate, because if you don't accept the ATM machine's conversion, which you shouldn't, then your bank sets the conversion rate, and so you'll get a better exchange rate if you let the bank set it and you don't select for the ATM to set it, for the bank that's selling it to you to set it. But yeah, I recommend, if your bank will sell it to you, to buy it directly from your bank. I just don't recommend that you buy excessive amounts of money unless it's euro or pounds. Why? Because the valuations are so good on those that they're always good to hold on to. So like I mentioned before, I pay attention to what they're doing. And if they are down, especially significantly fluctuate down, I will buy it and just hold it. Right now, the euro is high. I think the euro is now trading at, the exchange rate is, not trading, but exchange rate is 93 cents to $1 US, and the pound is 80 cents. The pound is even more expensive. Like the UK was kicking my behind. I was ready to leave out of there because I'm telling you, my goodness. But it's like 80 cents to so when you get when you get the exchange rate for that with the dollar, it's rough. Because it's 80 cents is what you would get for a US dollar. You're getting actually 80 cents on a dollar, and Europe it's 93 cents. But at one point it was 1 to 1, and when it was 1 to 1, I bought some to just hold on to. And that's something that I would suggest if you travel to those places or you plan to. It never hurts to have it, and I never exchange it back. When I come back, I just hold on to it. So I have euros. For this trip, I actually had euros that I had for like 2 years or something. Because last time I went, I forgot to take it. And you will find in Europe, you don't need a lot of euros because a lot of places don't even take credit cards. I mean, not cash. They don't take cash. And you're in the Britain was the worst. I mean, you would go up to places and they'd be like, we don't take cash. They want, it's like almost completely cashless in London. Like there are very few places that they would take cash from you. Everywhere wanted you to use your card. So you don't really need to have British pounds. You might maybe $100, I would say, because they're going to want, I mean, some of them straight up won't take it. So in Europe, in Italy, they'll take cash more so in Italy. Then in Paris, a lot of places in Paris also prefer that use a credit card, but definitely in London, which is the pound, they want a credit card, not cash. But when you get outside of those places, other places, or smaller outside of major cities, then I think people still prefer for you to pay them in cash, because small businesses, especially really small businesses, they don't want to pay. They get charged when people use a credit card. As a small business myself, those credit card companies, I'm telling you, and not even the credit card companies, those payment processing companies that process those payments, ooh, honey, they are ganking people. The amount of money they take before you get your money is unbelievable. And every year they raise the rate by a point or a half a point or whatever. So a lot of smaller businesses still will prefer cash because then they don't have to pay the extra charges. I think I covered everything. Does anyone else have a question or a comment? If not, we're going to knock off early today because I actually have to go pack for my trip. I still haven't even started packing, and I need to start getting myself together so I don't forget anything. So I'm going to do that. I'm actually probably going to shoot a video of what I'm taking with me to Greece, because I'm packing very differently than I did for Europe. I hope this was helpful. You're welcome. Thank you so much for the information. Much needed and appreciated. Yeah, I hope this was helpful. Today's not going to be a really long live, but I wanted to talk about this because people have asked me questions in other lives about it. So I thought it would be good to just do one live where I just talk about these kind of money things, in terms of like how I budget, in terms of, things that you should think about if you're traveling. So I hope that this was helpful. Definitely keep these things in mind and make them a part of your planning for your trips. Think about, how much money you think you're going to need to have on hand and stuff like that. And, things like on my storefront, I have money belt. I also have a wrist wallet, which is one of my favorite things. And I also have a wallet that clips onto the inside of my bra, which is another one that I love, even though people always get freaked out when I pop it out of my shirt to get money. So I tend to use the wrist wallet a little bit more than that one, just because it like gets people's attention more. But I really do think those things are really handy to have. I do not recommend having bulk of your cash and even your credit cards in your purse. And don't walk around with your passport. Like, please don't. There are pickpockets everywhere. Europe is notorious. Italy, Spain, France are notorious for pickpockets. And these people are real professionals. So even if you have a crossbody and you think you're holding on to it and paying attention to it all the time, they only need to be successful one time. So I really don't recommend that you keep your cash and your credit cards in a purse. You put your phone in there, put your, the paper copy of your passport in there, put your breath mints in there. Um, don't put your cash and your credit cards in there. I just don't recommend it. And there are these new things that I see people carrying with their phone around their necks that they can put cash in. I'm not crazy about putting cash in those things either. I still feel like having your money on your person is the best way to go. So if you're interested in that, I have a whole solo travel security set of items on my Amazon storefront, and a lot of it is stuff for how you can, safeguard your money when you're traveling. Renaissance of Consciousness said, yes, when I went to Europe the first time as a teenager, my passport was stolen and I had to get one from the consulate there. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. I know people who've gotten their purses stolen on the trains, outside of the Eiffel Tower. I've actually seen the pickpockets in action around the Eiffel Tower. They'll try to distract you. One person will come one way. I had a couple try to approach me in the train station in Florence, trying to distract me. It didn't work, but I knew what they were doing. But I'm gonna tell you one thing. The F-bomb is universal language. Everybody knows what that word means. I'm gonna tell you that. You match that with a off, they all know what you're saying. Because that's all I had to say for them to leave me alone. Okay. But they will come up to you and they'll, ask you if you need help or you're looking for something, blah, blah, blah. And they're trying to distract you so the other person can get close to you and get in your bag and get in your stuff. So you gotta be vigilant. So I really don't recommend putting things like that inside of your crossbody. Do they charge a lot of fees on regular credit cards, MasterCards when you use them overseas? Well, here's the thing. I don't get charged for any foreign transaction fees. I don't carry credit cards that are going to charge me because I'm a traveler. So I carry credit cards that do not charge foreign transaction fees. I only carry credit cards that pay me points and don't charge me anything. And I pay my credit card statements in full every month because I don't believe in paying interest. So that's how I use. I'm very strategic about how I use credit cards. I've learned a lot about it over time. And so I, use my credit cards to help build miles and points that allow me to travel or pay for things at a reduced rate. And I mentioned earlier at the top of the live about ways that you can build miles and points without even using a credit card if you don't want to. So like I said, there's shopping portals that you can use for your airport, like airline, that doesn't require, you can use your debit card and still get miles, right? But I like having a credit card that actually pays me, like my United credit card. I love that card. I do not pay for checked bags. I get preferred boarding on every United flight. And I've accumulated a lot of points in a short amount of time with that credit card. I also do most of my shopping now inside of their shopping portal. So I also get miles that way. So one of the things I recommend, as I said earlier, is if you are flying, join that airline's frequent mileage club, whatever it is. Like every airline has one, right? So join their mileage club. Sometimes you can, and they will alert you when they have sales. They will send you alerts because you're a member. You don't have to get their credit card, but you can still access a lot of them have shopping portals. Delta has one, United has one, American Airlines, which is not my favorite airline, so I'll never get their credit card, and I don't really mess with them like that, has one. Southwest, I'm pretty sure, has one. One of the things that I do with like United, for example, is I have their actual mileage. The mileage store's extension is on my laptop. So when I go to shop somewhere, they will prompt me and let me know whether that store is a part of their portal, and I'll shop it through their portal and get my mileage credits for what I bought. I also love Rakuten, which also is another way to get cash back on purchases. So I feel like if you're going to have credit cards, they should be benefiting you every single time you use them. That's just my personal advice, is like, if you have a credit card, either see if the company has a travel card, and see if you can exchange what the card you have. That's what I did with Capital One for a credit card. Obviously, having good credit helps in this regard, because if you have a good credit, then they'll give you whatever you want. But I just transferred from a couple of years ago. I had Capital One. I hardly ever used it. And then they sent me an offer to switch it to their venture card. And so I use it more now because I get points on every purchase. And then if I shop through their portal, I can get multiple, like double points, triple points sometimes. Chase, for example, gives you sometimes 4 times the points. Depend if you use, I think Lyft, you get 4 times the points for every dollar. So it's kind of like educating yourself about how to leverage that stuff and using credit cards that benefit you. So my favorite for sure is right now is my United, but I also really love my Chase Sapphire. Those two cards, like Chase Sapphire, I think is a really good card to have. Now the annual fee, I can't remember what it is now, but to me, it pays for itself, so I don't mind it. The most expensive annual fee card I have is my American Express, my Hilton American Express. But I love that card as well because it has helped me like build a lot of points from my Hilton stays. So I almost never pay for a Hilton stay. I use my points. And I just got an email before this that I was getting my room upgraded for the stay that I'm about to have, and I'm paying for it with points. So just things like that I like, and I get access to the executive lounge. And last time I was in the Mexico City one, I got a free massage. Just lots of little things like that. I like things like that. And then there are cards that also give you cash back, but I prefer points. I do have a cashback card, and I use that card for my business expenses, specifically my non-travel business expenses. I use the cashback card, but for my travel, I use a different card, and I use to accumulate points. I use one to accumulate airline points and the other one to accumulate hotel points. And like I mentioned, Delta has their mileage club allows you to get points on your Starbucks purchases. I do not believe that United or American have that. And they also allow you to get points on your Airbnb stays. They're the only ones, I believe. Oh no, British Airways also has an Airbnb deal where you can book, but I do not like British Airways and I do not like their club. And now that I have pretty much used up all my British Airways points, I don't really think I'll be flying them again. That was not a good experience I just had with them. And every time I fly with them, there's always something. They're nice on the plane, but the experience in Heathrow Airport, and I think I'm gonna do a video soon about the airports I hate the most and the TSA officers, which all airports I think have the worst TSA officers and the worst like overall experience. I think I might do a video about that. I don't know if I'm gonna do a live, but I'm gonna do a video about that. I already did a short video about which airports I hate the most, but I'm about to update it because now Heathrow has moved up in the rankings. Oh my goodness. And De Gaulle. I think De Gaulle was on the list, but they have moved up in the rankings too. But anyway, definitely find out. I will put some referral links in the description if you guys think that will be helpful. I'll put a referral link to the Chase Sapphire card because I think it's a great card to have. And I can put a referral link to my Hilton Aspire. I'll be honest, if you are not a Hilton person, and I was a Hilton person before I got this card, which is why I got it. If you're not a Hilton person and you can qualify for the American Express Gold or Platinum card, get those instead. Like seriously, if you can get the American Express, if you have good credit, basically, if you have a credit score above 750, you can get any card you want, okay? If that's the case, go for the American Express Platinum card. Now, the annual fee, I think, is $500, but I think it more than pays for that with all the things that you get. And you can go on Google and look it up. Like that's the card that I would like to acquire. And if I get it, I would probably get rid of my Hilton Aspire. I just haven't gotten around to calling them and asking them about like what the process will be for me to exchange one for the other. But I'm pretty sure I will get it because my credit score is very, very good. And I'm proud to say that because I worked very hard to get it to where it is right now. It did not happen overnight. Um, but if you're just starting and your credit score needs to be at least above 650, I would say, even to get a Chase Sapphire. But I think if it's 650 or more, you should be able to get a Chase Sapphire, I think. But to get like an American Express Aspire, one of those, you're gonna need to be above 700. My credit's not the best. I wish they made it so. Yeah, they're not gonna do a secured credit card because you all remember all of these things are driven by capitalism and making money for the company. So they're not gonna do it because it doesn't benefit them. But you know what? You will, if you have decide to make it a goal that you're gonna get there, you will. You might not be able to get it right now, but you can get it eventually. Because I didn't always have the greatest credit. I really did not. I worked really hard on it and took it very seriously, and I was able to get my stuff together and do it, right? But I will drop a referral link for the credit cards that I think are the best ones to consider. I definitely think the Chase Sapphire is a really good one, and the Capital One Venture card. Actually, I think if you have at a 650, you could probably get a Capital One Venture card as well, and that's a good card too. For a starter travel card, that's a good card. They don't charge foreign exchange. You can accumulate points really fast with them. Like even Amazon, I use them for my Amazon shopping, like specifically that card. And sometimes I don't even have to pay for my Amazon things because I have so much points with them that it just covers my Amazon purchases. So the Capital One Venture is one that I would say is a good travel card because they don't charge foreign exchange fees. And they have a good mileage accumulation program. And the other one I would say is Chase Sapphire. Those two are the ones that I think, not the Chase Sapphire preferred, the Chase Sapphire. There are two Chase Sapphires. I'm talking about the preferred one, not the other one. The preferred one has the lower annual fee, and I think it's a good card. I think it's the best travel card to start out with in terms of annual fee and the benefits. You can book, like they give you really great points if you book your hotels and your flights through them. I think their hotel rates are very competitive. I'm not sure their flights always are because flights cost what they cost nowadays. So I really think using something like Going, as I mentioned, is a better way to book your flight, and then book your flight directly. Always, if at all possible, book your flight directly through the airline. You can find a deal wherever you find it, but when you're ready to book the flight, book it through the airline. Because if there's a problem, you want to deal with the airline, and a lot of the airlines won't help you if they find that you booked through a third party. So I do not recommend booking any deal. I don't care how good they tell me a deal is. If I can't book it directly through United or American or Delta or Turkish Airlines or whoever it is, I don't buy the car. I don't buy the trip. I won't buy it. Because when there's a problem, those companies will give you the runaround. I learned that the hard way when COVID happened and stuff got canceled. And I had booked a trip to, where was the trip? To Portugal, I think, through this airline, this travel company based in India, I found out. And if I didn't know the things I know and I wasn't a lawyer, I would not have got my money back. But I did get my money back. But it took a lot to get my money back. While the flight that I had booked directly to the airline, they gave me my money back without any problem. So I definitely think I do not recommend that you book any airline ticket through third parties. Find the deal and then go directly to the airline's website. Most of the time, you will get the same rate or close to the same rate. And if you can't, call the airline on the phone and talk to someone, put a little sugar on it, and you'll be surprised. You might actually be able to get it. The other thing that you can think of joining is Delta. American Airlines has a vacation club. Delta has a vacation club. United has a vacation club. Sign up for those two, and they'll send you vacation package deals. You don't have to be a travel agent to get those. You can sign up. I know you can sign up for Delta Vacations and American Vacations. So that's another thing for you to do. So don't think you have to have a credit card to be able to accumulate mileage. You actually don't always have to have a credit card to accumulate mileage. It's a good way to be able to do it, but it's not the only way to be able to do it. If you join the mileage club for the airline, even without a credit card, you can accumulate miles with those airlines by just shopping in their portal. And so for those of us that like to be are shopping anyway, I'm not telling you start going and buying stuff that you weren't going to buy in the first place. But if you like makeup and you like to shop at Sephora, why not shop at the Sephora through the United mileage and get you some United miles? That's the way I think about it. So don't sleep on that stuff. Those are really good ways to do it. Credit card game, got American Express Gold. Yeah, American Express Gold is good, but Platinum is the gold standard. That is the one I would really like to get. Is the American Express. My girlfriend has that. American Express has the best customer service, in my opinion, of all the credit cards. Like if you have a problem, you get stuck somewhere in the world and you call that number, they take care of you. If somebody charges you for something, or you want, unhappy as well, something that happened in a hotel and you call them, they take care of it for you. American Express has excellent customer service, like the best customer service. And if you're an American Express Platinum card holder, they treat you like you are an American Express Platinum card holder. Let's just put it that way. But their service is excellent. Like I've had issues where the hotel didn't answer when I was calling to about the shuttle. I called the American Express number. They called and got them on the phone and got that shuttle to the airport to pick me up. They are excellent. I love having their credit card because they really do. They have the best customer service, the best. And when you get a Hilton Aspire American credit card, you automatically get diamond status with Hilton. So when you call and you say you have a problem, they take care of you. And I also get access to, I get Priority Pass lounge access. So any lounge in the world that accepts Priority Pass, I get lounge access. Now, the caveat to that is, now that everyone has these cards, the lounge experience is not what it used to be. So unless I have a long layover, I don't even bother to go in the lounge anymore because they're always crowded. They got a gazillion people in there. Sometimes they got a line. Sometimes they won't let people in because they got too many people. The lounge experience is not what it used to be. So the access to the lounge is now the least reason why I would get a credit card, because now all of the cards like American Express, Chase, they're all giving people that lounge access. So all of these people now have lounge access, and it didn't used to be that many people with it, but now it's a lot more people with it. And so the lounge, and then they got kids in there. It's not the same experience as when I used to have, access lounges when I was traveling for work and I was flying business class. Now, if you are flying business class, then you may have a different lounge experience because the airlines themselves, like United, American Airlines, and several of the international KLM, they only allow their business class people in those lounges. American Express Platinum card holders often get access to the airline lounges as well. That's another reason why I want to switch my card for theirs. They also get access. So you don't have to go to the Priority Pass lounge. You get to go to the lounge that the business class people get to go to, that are nice and quiet and not crowded and have the premium liquor in the bar. Those are the ones that I like to go to. I think I covered everything. Those are some good questions you guys asked there at the end. But yeah, I think, credit cards are good if you're able to get a good travel card. Yes. But if you can't get one, you can still accumulate miles without it. So just keep that in mind. Don't think that the only way you can do it is if you have a credit card. There are other ways to do it as well. So you can leverage miles in other ways. Okay, 7:00. So we've been on for an hour, and I thought we were only going to do it for 30 minutes. I hope this was helpful. Someone asked if I would do a video about my packing for Greece. I will. I'm probably going to shoot it tomorrow because I have to pack. The color for Greece is blue, people. Let me just let y'all know. That's the color. I'm very much into doing color capsules now for my travel. I just find it easier if I pick a color and I build everything around that color. Hey there, Maritza girl, you late. We about to leave. Sorry, but it's good I'm glad you're here, but we're about to go. So make sure you watch the live on the replay because we're about to go. But I am going to do a Greece pack with me video, a pack with me for Greece video. I will shoot that. And I'm super excited about Greece, as you know, because it's my first time. I've always wanted to go there. I'm going for the first time, but I'm doing blue. I think the blue will be look very pretty for the pictures. My shoot that I'm doing a photo shoot in Santorini. I am not doing the flying dress. I thought about it. I just can't justify paying 375 euros. And yes, I know I just bought a Chanel bag in Florence, but that's how my brain works, y'all. I don't think it's worth 375 euros. So I'm going to do a photo shoot in Santorini, but I'm not paying for a flying dress. I'm not going to be able to do it. No. Mm-mm. So I'm not doing that, but I am doing a shoot. So I picked a blue dress to do the shoot in. Even though the ideal thing that I wanted to wear has not yet come in the mail. So I may have to rethink what I'm wearing, but I think I'm set for the trip. It's definitely going to be blue. I may, one of the reasons I'm going to Greece is to evaluate whether I like it enough to take a group there. But I'm going to, I'm going to the Athens, Santorini, and Mykonos. That's where I'm going. The places everyone goes. It's not really where I wanted to go, to be honest with you. I want to go to Athens, but then I wanted to do some other islands. But I feel like because those are the places that everyone identifies with as Greece, I felt an obligation to go to those, and I've never been to any of them. I felt an obligation to go to those places first, and then I hopefully will be able to go back and see Crete and Paros and Naxos and some of the other islands that I've researched and I'm very interested in going. But because I'm going to be there for I think 9 days, I'm not going to have enough time. I would need to be there for 15 days to see everything that I want to see. And because I got a flight deal, it only allowed me to book in a certain period of time. In the month of September, I had to leave by a certain date and come back by a certain date. So that was the thing that sucked about, sometimes about taking advantage of a deal, but it was a good deal. I paid under $600, under a little over 500 for a round trip ticket to Greece from Mexico is very, very good. And that's what I paid. Because I had points to cash out. And so I got a really good deal. I was going to lose the points if I didn't use them by the end of this month. And so I used my points and they were having a sale. So I got a good deal. But I would have preferred to have stayed longer if I could have, because it would have allowed me to spend more time in each place that I'm going to. And then I would be able to do some other islands. But yeah, I will be evaluating that to see if it's a place that I would like to do a group trip, because everyone raves to me about Greece all the time. So we'll see. For those who might be interested, I'm just in the final stages of putting the final touches on the Tuscany group trip and the Sicily group trip. The Sicily group trip is probably going to drop in the next week or so. It's going to be outstanding. There will be, we're going to be doing all the things. There's going to be a sunset cruise on a catamaran with a chef on board. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be amazing. The hotel is on the Mediterranean and all the rooms are facing the ocean. It's going to be outstanding. This is going to be a group trip to Taormina, Sicily. I went to Taormina in September of 2021 and I was like, people need to know about this place. And then HBO went and shot a damn show and then everybody found out. I still think people need to go there, but I remember going there and thinking, this is just as beautiful as Capri or Positano. And I was just like, how come other people, aren't here? You know what I mean? I was like, it was so pretty. And girl, ladies, HBO found out, went and shot the damn White Lotus show. Now the prices have gone up. Then Janet Jackson was there this summer. So I was like, let me hurry up and get this trip done, because everybody about to find out about Taormina. And I got there before Janet Jackson did. And it's beautiful. That place is beautiful. It deserves all the accolades that it's getting. But I'm just, y'all can call it gatekeeping or whatever. But I'm just, I don't like it when places get overrun with tourists. But the trip is going to be in September. So it's my hope that since it'll be after the summer, that it'll be close to, and that's when I went. I went in September, and it was lovely because there were people there, but it wasn't like crowded. It didn't have the Florence in August feel that I just experienced. So I feel like the people who will go will kind of get to have close to the experience that I had, but y'all gonna have a way better experience than I had because I didn't do no catamaran cruise, and we're also doing a cruise to Isola Bella, and you can Google that. It's beautiful. I didn't go there either. I saw it from the beach club that I was at one afternoon. This guy was telling me he was there and he was offering to take me out on a boat, but I didn't go to do it. But that's going to be in it too. It's going to be a really great trip. So I'm putting together the final stuff on that. Isla La Bella, that's the one. Well, they call it Isola La Bella, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what they call it. But where we're going, I'm pretty sure he told me it was Isola, but I have to look it up. I could be wrong. But anyway, there will be a excursion to there, whatever it's called. That's where we're going. And then there's going to be the catamaran cruise is what I'm very, very excited that I was able to pull that off and get that included. But it's going to be a really great trip. So that's probably going to drop soon. And Tuscany, I'm still working on, but that will probably drop in early October. I'm going to try to get the Sicily one out before the end of September because I want to make sure people have at least 8 months to pay on a payment plan. Because yes, y'all gonna need to get your coins together. I would love to say that this is going to be, a $3,000 trip, but it's not. It's not. It's Italy, so yeah, it's not. But it's going to be an amazing. I'm trying to put together a really great experience. Like the kinds of experiences I like to have when I go on vacation is what I'm doing. I just did a catamaran excursion when I was in Bari, and it was so much fun. It was so relaxing. It was great. And so the idea of having a whole catamaran, just me and people that are traveling with me, I'm very excited about that. So yeah. So for those people who are interested in that, please make sure you get on the wait list. I sent the wait list out to my website subscribers, and I also shared the wait list with people who are in my group. So if you want access to wait lists, you have to be in one of those places to get access. So access, if you are a Black woman over 40, you can join my Facebook group. And otherwise, you can subscribe to my website to get access to the wait list. Let me see. Is there anything else I need to share? I don't think so. Let me just tell you all really quickly about the other meetups, I guess. There are 2 spaces left for Zanzibar in January. So if you're interested in going on the Zanzibar trip, there are 2 spots left. There's 1 spot left for Tobago, which will be Mother's Day, May 2024. I'm really thrilled about the Tobago trip because, my mother and father were born in, my late mother and my father were born in Tobago. I think Tobago is one of the most beautiful places in the world that nobody knows about yet. And I kind of like that because it is one of those places that does not feel like a tourist in the Caribbean. It doesn't feel like a tourist trap ever when I'm there. And I get to share the place that I used to spend my childhood summers and the place where my mother was born with other people. So I'm very excited about that. I am super excited that people really want to go there. I was not expecting the trip to sell out, and I definitely wasn't expecting all the spaces to be gone this soon. There's only 1 space left. There are 6 spaces left for Turkey. Turkey will be in April. That's going to also be a great trip. It's 5 days, 3 in Istanbul and 2 in Cappadocia. And Jamaica is already sold out. Jamaica is in February. We're going to Negril. So, with these trips, I don't do wait lists. As I've said this in my group. Their wait list happens before the trip, not after the trip. So when the trips sell out, they sold out, lady. Don't come in my DMs asking me about wait lists. If somebody drops out of a trip, I will announce it in my group, but that's the only place I'm going to announce it. The group is the wait list. So if you're not in the group, you won't know, because we did actually get an opening in the grill and it was gone in, I think, 10 minutes. So the grill is completely sold out, and Tuscany and Sicily will drop soon, and there are wait lists for those too. So if you want to get on those, you can do it as a subscriber or as a member of my Facebook group. So that's the update on the meetups. And so I think I've covered everything. So thanks you guys for being here. If you came late, you can watch the whole live on the replay. I covered a lot, I think, around money and travel and things to think about relevant to money and travel. And you guys asked some good questions as always. I appreciate all of you being here. I appreciate you following me. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscription button so that you will know when I go live and also know when other content goes up. Please hit the like button as well. It really helps the algorithms, helps my algorithms if you do that. So I'd appreciate if you would do that as well. I'm thinking I might go live from Greece, but I might not. It depends, y'all. It depends on what I'm doing. It depends. I'm super excited about Athens. I'm super excited about all of, Mykonos, Santorini, all of that. I can't promise I will. I may not, but I will go live as soon as I get back so I can tell you all about my trip. And I will be posting content from Greece. I'm sure I will post some content from Greece. I'll probably post most of the content when I get back, but I will post some while I'm there as well. So look out for that as well, for you to see that. I'm super excited about seeing the Parthenon and going to seeing the ruins in Athens. I'm really, really excited about that. So thanks for being here. You guys have a good night. Thanks for following me. Thanks for supporting my work on, getting women that look like us and those of us of a certain age in particular to embrace the idea of getting out on a plane and seeing the world and doing all the things with or without other people. The most important thing to remember is that life is short. Book the trip. I'll see you guys at the next live. Have a good night.